Hello everyone, Camberon here, and as you can see from the title, Fm26 has been formally announced on November 4th. Now, I've kind of kept my silence on this until we got enough information, but we're 4 trailers in, and I think I've seen enough that I can start officially offering my thoughts. So, I'm going to leave all of the trailers that have been revealed so far running, so you can kind of get a look for yourselves. But I'm going to start with the obvious one being the graphical improvements. Now, we said there was going to be a massive leap, and I think that is actually accurate, but it's a little bit contextual. So they obviously from FM24 where the graphics were still, to me, they were like PS1 level graphics. It is an improvement. It's about up to the level where FIFA 17-18 was. I think that's still a few years behind some of the other modern football games, but for FM, it looks really good. I think the backgrounds look actually really great. I do still think we need licensed stadiums so you can actually, like, when you play Old Trafford, it will look like Old Trafford and not just a generic stadium, but I'm hoping they'll work on that. Some of the animations still look a little bit clunky, but some of the ones they've done with the motion capture, they look really, really good. And I'm excited to see them in the game. Certainly one of the things that did impress me is the free kick taking looks brilliant. And some of the, like, basically scoring golazzos. Long shots look really, really fun to see in visual. I think in terms of the match highlights is another thing I'm really impressed with. The fact the space in between the highlights, you no longer need to dig for like different screens and shots like tables and opposition formation. It's all just there along with a 2D mode. And the fact they've now got broadcast mode, which actually looks really good. I think they're trying to get it up to the feel of watching an actual game of football live. I might not necessarily do broadcast, I might just stick with aerial mode. It's a little bit different for me because I play the game at a faster speed, which is the all-encompassing important thing. I play the game at like a slightly faster speed, so it might look a little bit different. I'm hoping it won't fry my laptop trying to run those graphics faster. I know that they've obviously, you're not going to need like the latest rig to play the game, but it's not exactly going to run on a potato on wheels either. So there is that. I think they want to get that feel of watching an actual football match. I think that'll be quite fun, especially with the Premier League licensing. I think that's going to be exciting to watch. I can now watch Man United lose in a clear as definition as I would if I was watching on TV. But, yeah. I think it looks great. Same with the UI. You can tell they've overhauled it to introduce the portal mode and bring all the options onto the side rather than over the top. The key thing is, the word that I look at when I see it is streamlined. They've obviously decided that this one they want to try and capture a whole new audience. People who I'm guessing are probably by this point sick of FC26. Because I have seen all the complaints that every single EAFC is the worst one yet. So there is now a new market. We haven't heard from eFootball in a while, so I'm not sure what Konami are doing with that. I certainly haven't, so if anybody wants to tell me what's going on there, do let me know. But there is now a gap for a major footballing game, and that's where Football Magic can come in. It's for a while always been sort of a niche thing, but it's grown and grown since about, I'd say, COVID. You know, when everybody's locked inside and people are playing a lot more video games. I'm surprised I got into it so late around FM22, but that's a whole thing. So, there is obviously now a gap that I think Sports Interactive do want to exploit. Obviously, they took a year off, and now they're back with a vengeance. They've got an updated UI, updated graphics. They do want to bring in a whole new generation of Football Manager fans and establish itself as a top football game, possibly the top football game. And I think they're going to go a long way to do that. I think the game looks like it's going to be a lot easier to manage. They've streamlined a lot of the UI. They've really made an effort to like change a lot of the more complicated menu systems. I'm really hoping they fix a couple of things with the gameplay, notably player interactions, which were still horribly busted even in FM24. I'm hoping they might have some better AI responses. I would always like them to try and switch to generative, but I don't know how that's going to work. I think the only third thing I'd like to see is maybe a little bit more opposition news. Like when I was playing through FC Imabari on my series, I had a star striker who scored like 30 goals because nobody bothered to mark him. So I'd like maybe to see more, like, oppositions will double up on your star striker or rile up your temperamental centre-back to get him sent off. Kind of do the sort of things you do to an opposition. So there is that. In terms of, like, the new leagues and new modes, I'm just going to touch on this really quickly. So, the new men's modes. I'm not going to touch the Saudi Pro League. It's not a thing for me. I know a lot of people want it in the game. And I think the fact there is room to be coming is important. If they do bring the Egyptian leagues, I will definitely be doing a one season wonder looking at Zamalek and their really fierce rivalry with Al Ahly, which is known to be one of the fiercest rivalries in football. Even there is also, I think, the Moroccan league, the Lithuanian league, and one more that I don't remember there being. I can't remember. But the big one is obviously women's football. Now, I'm going to stress something. I've watched women's football. I went to watch Swindon Town's women play in a fourth round at Women's FA Cup against Plymouth. I watched England's women on TV when they won the Euros. I've even watched them in a friendly at County Ground playing Spain. But I'm not going to do women's football on my channel. I know a lot of the big creators are talking about how excited they are for women's football to coming to the game. I have a one-word response for that. It's called astroturfing. But I'm not going to get drawn into that. I'm not going to start any fucking arguments. But I'm not going to be covering women's football on the channel. Mostly because I've already got all the content that I want to do. A lot of it is recycled from what I was going to do for FM25. I'm just bringing it over to FM26. And I don't really think I'm going to have the time or the reasons to cover women's football. If people want me to do it and they want to just nag me into doing it, that's fine. But I'm quite comfortable just not doing it. And I probably won't listen much to the nagging, to be honest. It's not really the thing that I want to do. But feel free to ask whether you get it, I don't know. But I think it is important for an expansion of the game. I know some people were worried that they're going to force you to do women's football. It's like, oh, you won't be able to deselect the leagues. I mean, that's a bit conspiracy brained. Don't be like that. I'm sure they will let you deselect the leagues if you don't want to play it. But I think the only thing about it is that they do have to kind of justify the removal of international football because they went on a huge thing last around FM25 saying, oh, only 10% of the player base played it. That's still a lot of people. They are going to have to hit at least 10 to 15% playing women's football to kind of justify its inclusion. And I think my only other thing about it is that I know they say it's not why they did it, but I can't help but feel that the inclusion of women's football and the removal of players' weights in the game kind of go a little bit hand in hand for reasons. And I think I said it in a previous video is that you don't usually... Yeah, I'm not going to go in there. But I think people who want to play women's football can play women's football. People that won't play it, I'm probably not going to do it on the channel. So, yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, I've already got what I want to do for all the content. I'm going to do my beta save, which I have seen the beta save is allegedly leaked for the 21st. I think that will be fine. I'll be ready for that. Probably not going to buy the game until 3 days before. But, yeah, I'm going to be doing Atletico Madrid as a beta save. And I've already got my one season wonder lined up. I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it. The only thing I will say is I've got kind of a full idea of what I want to do for my one season wonders. Obviously, I've already mentioned I do want to do one for Zamalek in Egypt. And then other than that, I'm going to try and do a couple of others. And I'm also going to try and get new thumbnails for those. Because I've been ripping a few of them off of a free wallpaper website. I'm going to try and design my own. It might be... well, we'll see. But I obviously cannot wait for October 21st. I obviously took a long break for after FM25 was cancelled. I never did finish the Visa Krakow save. Unfortunately, because things got in the way. I've been missing for about 6 months now, I think. I think my last video was around about the time they now cancelled FM25 in the March. I think it was. So I've been missing since about... Yeah, I think I've been missing for 8 months. So that's fun. Surprisingly, the channel isn't dead quite yet. I did put up a short a couple of months ago, but that was an unrelated thing. So anyway, I will be back on October the 21st with my Atletico Madrid beta save. So do stay tuned for that. I think this is obviously going to be the biggest FM ever. I know they cancelled FM25 because Miles said they couldn't release it in its current state due to how bad it actually, due to how little it actually worked, which instantly makes him more sensible than most game companies these days. So, go figure. But yeah, I think it'd be good. Biggest FM ever, all of that. Obviously trying to get a new audience in, profit off of how sick people are of EA shit, which is actually a very good idea. So, I will see you all on October 21st. If you've enjoyed this, feel free to leave a like. If you want to see more and are really looking forward to FM26 and all the content I'm going to bring, always feel free to subscribe. I've been Campbell Run, and thank you for watching.